What's up, residents? Welcome to Dangerville. So we have a brand new Godzilla design to discuss in today's video, coming from a new Netflix series set to release sometime early next year, Godzilla Singular Point. This will be an anime made by Toho, the people who made all the classic Godzilla movies, along with the most recent anime series on Netflix, but don't get this confused with that series. Hopefully this one is going to be a bit more rewarding and promising for us fans. So the trailer for Godzilla Singular Point recently dropped. Go watch that if you haven't already. But within this trailer, we got a lot of cool glimpses at some famous classic Toho monsters reimagined for modern audiences in this new anime format. We got to see a little bit of Rodan, Anguirus, and many more, so that's really exciting news to see these classic monsters coming back. But when it comes to the big G-Man, they're just showing little bits and pieces of his design, probably in hopes of revealing the whole look of this new Godzilla later down the road in some spectacular, grand fashion. But I believe out of these little teases for Godzilla's design, we have enough to talk about this new look for Godzilla, and I think it's pretty badass. So if you want to be kept up on everything Godzilla Singular Point, comment down below, like the video, share it around, get the algorithm fired up, and let's talk about this new Godzilla design coming from Godzilla Singular Point, a new anime series set to release next year on Netflix. Let's get to it. Alright, so let's start off with this promotional sketch of Godzilla's head from the profile view, meaning from the side. I think the first thing we all notice with this image right here is his teeth. I mean, look at those things. Those are some giant chompers. These are probably the most prominent Godzilla teeth and fangs since GMK. I mean, just look at that canine tooth right there. That thing is massive. And I like this about the new Godzilla design. Makes him look more animalistic, a little bit more like a crocodile. I like it. I always thought that Godzilla needed bigger teeth, specifically the Monsterverse version, which I really like that design, but his teeth are, they're just kind of wimpy looking, really, but, you know, that's just my opinion. The next thing that stands out to me in this sketch is Godzilla's scales. I mean, just look at them. They're real thick, they look really protective and spiky. It looks like you wouldn't want to touch him. Might hurt you a little bit, so I really like this new look for Godzilla. He's so pointy and like sharp. He just looks like more menacing than we've seen Godzilla many times in the past, and I'm excited for that. But let's move on to the next little teases of Godzilla's design. These next two pictures come from the trailer itself, and they show Godzilla in live action. In these pictures, we can see Godzilla standing in this red mist that you can learn more about in Alistair's video right here, where he broke down the whole trailer. But in these images, you can once again see Godzilla's epic new mouth. Look at all those teeth. That fang is just huge. It's sticking out. Looks like it's coming out from his nose hole or something. That's pretty cool looking. One more thing that this angle kind of shows is that Godzilla's mouth is huge. Most creatures, whether they're fictional things like Godzilla or real animals, their mouths don't extend that far back into like near their throat. So this is weird. It's almost like he's all mouth. Now, it looks a little bit like Shin Godzilla to me, and we'll discuss that more. I'll compare this Godzilla with Monsterverse Godzilla and Shin Godzilla and kind of see where it stacks up, but so far I'm getting a lot of Shin Godzilla vibes from this new design, as well as some from GMK, those teeth specifically. The next red mist image shows something really sweet, and that is no doubt Godzilla charging up his atomic blast. Just look at that blue hue coming from his throat. Classic Godzilla. We all know it's gonna come from this, right? It's gonna be a lot of... And we don't know if this Godzilla is going to be neutral or a good guy or a bad guy, but the way they're showing him is definitely... This is a scary looking Godzilla. I don't think he's gonna be a neutral kind of help humanity sort of character. I think he's just gonna be destructive and terrifying. I mean, just look at that red mist and his teeth and that atomic hue. That's scary. That's something you wouldn't want to see when you're walking out in the dark and the sky turns all red, you know? But let's move on to a final poster image of Godzilla that actually lets us get an idea of the shape of his body and not just his face and head. Alright, so coming from a promotional poster for Singular Point, we have this nice side view of Godzilla's body. Now you have to look a little bit behind the characters and font here, But even with that, we can see enough to discuss Godzilla's design, and once again, my eyes instantly go towards that ridiculous mouth. The first thing that pops into my mind when seeing that mouth is a snake. Have you ever seen a snake eat an egg? It almost looks a lot like this, so this is cool. I think this new Godzilla is going to be able to swallow things, really massive things, like something that they shouldn't be able to swallow. Or it's just gonna look really cool when he roars. Regardless, I think this mouth is something the developers of this new anime are really focusing on, so that's exciting. I think that's something I at least want to see. Like I said, I don't really like Monsterverse Godzilla's mouth. It's kind of puny and it's not all that epic, if you know what I'm saying. But let's move on to the rest of his body. Now, I'm gonna have to see this whole Godzilla design when it actually comes out in the show, but as of right now, I think these may be my favorite Godzilla spikes on his back that I've ever seen. Look at these. They're awesome looking. They're pointy. They look like they could stab through anything, but yet they still have that classic Godzilla maple leaf look to his spines. I think these spines are going to look really cool and something we're all going to appreciate. But man, just look at them. They're so sharp. You don't want to touch that. And then we get a good glimpse at his arms, which reminds me once again of Shin Godzilla, but a little bit less pathetic looking. Now I say this because they almost look like talons. They stick out all straight and kind of stiff looking, but then he's had his fingers and they just look like talons, like something you'd see on an eagle's foot. This is cool. I like Godzilla to have a little bit more beefy arms and a little bit more capable. These look kind of like they're gonna be, like I said, like Shin Godzilla's, to where they're just kind of there. They don't really do much, but they saved it with the hands or talons on this new design. I think he's going to be able to grab things. It's gonna look cool. This new Godzilla design may just be one of my favorite of all time. Let me know what you think so far about it down below in the comments. But before we end this video, let's quickly compare this new Godzilla design, what we have of it so far, to the last few times that we've seen Godzilla on screen. Now, you've already heard a lot about how I think he looks like Shin Godzilla, going off of his giant snake-like mouth, his talon arms, and his overall just spiky, don't touch me sort of look to his skin and scales. But unlike Shin Godzilla, I feel like this Godzilla is not going to be goofy looking. A lot of people didn't like the Shin Godzilla design. It's grown on me over time, and sometimes I think it looks really badass. But then a lot of times I look at the Shin design and I'm like, I can't take this all that serious. It just doesn't look cool enough to be Godzilla, you know? Godzilla's kind of always been like this cool guy to me. And Shin Godzilla just looked like, he just looked like he was on drugs or something. So, yeah, it almost looks like Singular Point Godzilla is going to be a mixture of Shin Godzilla and Monsterverse Godzilla. Monsterverse Godzilla, at least to me, is one of the best and, like I said before, coolest designs out of all the Godzillas. But there are some features on him that I don't much care for. You heard me say before, I don't like Monsterverse Godzilla's head. I feel like it's not that threatening compared to the rest of his body. And sometimes Monsterverse Godzilla looks a little pudgy and not all that, you know, scary to the touch. It looks like you could touch him and it'd be like, oh, he's so nice. This Godzilla looks like you're gonna touch him and your hand's probably just gonna implode into blood because he's so sharp looking. Regardless, it's all just me talking about how I feel right now, but that doesn't really matter because we haven't seen the series yet, but let me know your early thoughts about, or at least what we have of it so far. I hope you enjoyed this non-scripted video of me just going on about the designs, and I look forward to seeing you all again next time here in Dangerville. Don't forget to go check out our merch if you haven't already. We got some cool new stuff in there for the cold winter season coming up, so feel free to go check it out. Thank you all for spending your time with me. I can't thank you all enough. I'll see you next time. Peace out.